Life is complicated. We think your internet should be simple. So switch to Cox, and for just $49.99 per month, a hassle-free way to get the internet you need for a great price. You get make download speeds, included, feedback guaranteed, and no annual contract. Yes.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Good. All right. It is 4 o'clock and we're going to live stream this. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter weekend. Maybe get out and get some things done in the yard. It was nice here. All right, we'll let this thing go live here for a second, as soon as this gets up here, and then we'll get started. All right, we'll let this thing go live here for a second. Yeah, where did my... Sign in. What are you talking about? There we go. All righty, so do a screen share. And let's start over on Wayne's Lock Shop. Where did I put it? Did I move it? Forms, got it. All right, so we're going to start off. Everybody can see the screen.
Yep.
Cool. So we go to wayneslockshop.com. We go to general locksmithing, and let's take a look at some of the GKL products. Now, a lot of you guys are probably most familiar with the Hinge Doctor products from GKL. These are great products. It's just sometimes people don't really realize that they offer more than that. So I like to kind of go over that and let people know, hey, they do have more to offer as well. So one of the first things we're going to look at here is, what does the Hinge Doctor actually do? So you can see here that this is one of my personal doors that had, or on one of my old houses. Let's get that muted. All right. You can see that there's a large gap on the hinge side and then no gap on the open side. That's a clean indicator that this is a perfect candidate for a Hinge Doctor. We also have this massive gap up here, and it's probably dragging on the floor or hanging down a little bit. So the door has just kind of shifted. So how do we shift that back? Well, we use the GKL products, Hinge Doctor, like so. So you can see the size of the gap here now and the size of the gap here up at the top. There's almost no gap. In fact, it's actually rubbing and hitting. You can open the door. You can see signs of that rubbing as well. Not a good sign. So here's the spring hinge over here. And here's the gap down at the bottom. So the door shifts down, gap opens up at the bottom, closes up at the top. Okay, and then this is on the bottom side here. So the whole thing has shifted all the way around. So now here's after the hinge doctor. Okay, you can physically see the difference after the fact. And this is just setting the hinge doctor on the hinge. My favorite way to do it is to do it with the door closed. And now I've even actually added an airbag to it where we put an airbag on the opening side, push that door back. It keeps the hinge. What happens if you don't do that is you're pressing the hinge together. So when you bend it down here, it actually bends at the fulcrum point down here rather than just kind of Ving out the hinge. If you don't put the airbag in, it will still work. It's just somewhat less effective. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about with that bending. This is what it does. This is called a hinge swedge, and the hinge doctor re-swedges the hinge so that it draws the door back up, pulls it back up towards the hinge, and creates the proper amount of gap. Now, all too often, people take the wrong approach when it comes to fixing and repairing doors. Like, let's say, for example, we show up to a door and the problem is that the latch isn't engaging. The strike isn't engaging with the latch, right? And it's too low. So most people file the strike down to match the latch. That is one way to do it, but you're getting a destructive tool out and you're grinding on things and you're altering, UL listed and in some cases fire rated hardware, and you then just nullified any of those listings and ratings. What we can do here is we can put this hinge doctor on the hinge just like so, and then we use a crescent wrench and you basically bend it, you pull it and pull it towards the door. So you set it on and you're always pulling it towards the door. You also really can't over adjust. I mean, you could over adjust anything if you really wanted to, but it's difficult to over adjust it when you use this method. The other method is you can actually open the door and pull the door open with the hinge doctor on the hinge, and it'll re-swedge it that way as well. It's just not my preferred method. Okay, so we put the hinge doctor all the way on just like so. And yes, they make one for spring hinges because this is a spring hinge. That's what the blue one is for. And this is one way to do it. You can pull the door open with the hinge doctor in place and you use the door as a lever. I use this, the only time I use this technique is if for some reason I cannot get my wrench on the hinge doctor. Here's the other way with the wrench. And again, you just put it like so, and then you're going to bring it towards the door. Obviously, there's nowhere to go against the frame there. So it has to go to the door. And that is going to adjust your hinge and allow you to bring the gap from here and put it back where it needs to be over on the other side right here. Okay, so that is the most common use of GKL products, hinge doctor. Some of the other uses are aluminum storefront doors. Okay, so check this out here. This looks ugly, right? This is just ugly. But I can't remember exactly what we were converting this to. I think we were converting it to electronic access of some sort. But you can see there's just holes. We're deleting this particular hole here. And the door starts off by looking like this. Okay, so we have two different options. One of the ways you could seal this off is you could just use the thread-in mortise cylinders that are blank. They sell blank mortise cylinders. You can use that. You can thread it into the existing Adams rate. The problem with that is that if somebody wanted to later, they could come back, put a keyed cylinder in or a thumb turn in, and then begin to use that lock again and lock an entryway that maybe was designed to be shut off or not used anymore, or not have occupancy. So this way, we're gonna delete this one up here. You can see the cylinder or something's been pulled out of there. But using the GKL products system, it's going to delete that and it's going to make it look really clean and really nice. So obviously step one is to get all the hardware off. And then I use a little bit of glass cleaner, or even in some cases, a little bit of detergent, a brake clean, a solvent, get all the grime and grit off of the door. The door, I don't want to leave it looking like this when I leave. I want this door to be shiny, pristine, and looking awesome when I leave. That's going to be the imprint I want to leave on my customer. We called this guy. He solved the problem. He charged a fair price, and the door looks and operates better than ever. That guarantees me to get the next call back. So the first thing we need to do is take all of the equipment or all of the moving components out of the door, remove any cylinders, locks, faceplates, etc. that are on the door, clean everything up, and then you're going to have an external portion and an internal portion, and you're going to have this little rod that goes through. Okay. So the smooth portion goes on the outside. And the reason the smooth portion goes on the outside is so nobody can tamper with it. If you can't get a grip or a hold on it, it's going to be very difficult to try and back that off, because the only thing that holds these two things together, there's no set screw, there's nothing like that. I just put a little dab of blue Loctite on either side and then thread that post into there. And then you put the two together and you'll actually use the key. There's two dimples on this inside one. And that key is what goes into the dimples and allows you to tighten everything up and lock it in place. So here's what it looks from the outside. I mean, doesn't that just, it looks like it's meant to be there. It looks like it belongs on the door. It doesn't look out of place. Okay. And that's what we really want to get to. Here's the inside where the key sticks into these two little notches, because it's a really thin piece of metal or piece of aluminum. It is also aluminum, so it's not going to rust. It's not going to bleed onto the door. If you use metal, it will rust. It will bleed onto the door, and it'll make the door look pretty nasty. So then we just tighten that little fella up, and that's pretty much it. We also have some bridges that we could put on here too, and I will cover and go over that a little bit more as we move forward. But again, that post just goes into one side. This other side threads onto it. I like to personally thread this all the way down. That way, you know, you got a good full seat on the external portion that does not provide any leverage or any key or anything like that. And then here we go again. Just looks good when we're done. Okay. So it's very, very simple, very easy. It's just like a deadbolt deletion kit on a wood door, except for it's specifically made for a hollow metal door, or I'm sorry, a aluminum frame storefront door. I think we actually had a little video to watch on there too. Let's see what we've got. Storefront door deletion. Hello, and we're going to introduce the GKL Products Adams Wright aluminum storefront door deletion kit. So they sell a fancy kit specifically used for electronic access or other forms of access. If you have a existing door that has an Adams Wright system drilled into it, 4900 series, dead latch or hook bolt or deadbolt, this kit is specifically designed to create a very nice finish and a very thin profile to make sure that you can see what it looks like flush and flat, and it looks like almost nothing was ever done to the door. It looks practically factory. You can pick these up at gklproducts.com, and you can also find them at hlflake.com. You can see the interior portion has a key that allows you to turn the flat portion, and the flat side goes on the outside, just like so. More information, check out. Okay, so you can see how that works. No, we don't need that right now. So you can see how that system works and how it goes together to help make your job look nice and clean and just overall easy to use, easy to install, and easy to operate. Where did for some reason, let's see here. Okay. It's out. Perhaps I deleted the tab. So again, from the start, you can go to wayneslockshop.com, go to the forum section, and we just come back with general locksmithing. Let's see where we left off here. Aluminum products, storefront deletion kit. Okay. Great. So then we can move on and we can see one of their oversized screw kits. So that is one of the things they offer as a hardware deletion kit with electronic access. That little puppy is pretty valuable. Also, if you've ever stripped out the mounting screws on even, the actual, like the 4900 series or any of the deadbolts, those bridges are amazing. And we'll go into that just a little bit more too. So here is some of the screws. So these are going to be the common screws that you're going to get when you install your hardware. If you're installing on a wood door, or these they're more of a heavy wood thread, but they do work on metal in some cases. It's more specifically towards wood. But you can see how much larger the thread pattern is. However, the head of the bolt stays the same size, and that's the key factor. It's got to fit flush, because if you have anything sticking out, we know that that's going to hang up and catch on things. So right here's a good example. These are the two screws fully countersunk after we use them. Okay. Let's check out what we had going on here. My Facebook is being very bizarre today. Maybe we can try it a different way. See what that does for us. Nope, it's going to bring it up the same way here. Okay. Well, we still get the same basic concept and idea that obviously one was stripped, one screw was stripped, and the GKL products oversized screw takes up. It's basically like jumping up a size in screw, without having to jump up to that other size in head to be able to, so that it doesn't fit flush anymore. All right. Let's see here. Then our next one here.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
you have questions? Go ahead.
Well, comment as much as anything. The screws that what you're doing is you're going from like number 9 head screw to a number 9 head and a 10 screw, right?
Pretty much, yes. Yep. That is the basic concept. Only try and find that screw at the hardware store.
I have found them, but they're 3.5 inches long.
Right. And that's not going to work with door hardware very well.
No.
So, but yes, they do. They offer that package. It's uncommon screws, and they also have them for hinges too. They have a complete kit, and I'm actually wondering, let's see if I can find it here. Let's see, GKL products, door hardware. Let's see if we can find it.
There it is.
Yeah, well, they had it right there. These little guys right
Yeah.
here. Okay, hinge repair screws. Let's just try a screw kit. But it's a lifesaver because you can't find them at the hardware store. You can't find them hardly anywhere. And this little system just makes it so much easier. You can call your favorite supplier and they should have them.
I save all the number 9 screws out of my quick set strike plates.
Yep.
And that, because those are long, got some long ones there, and that's.
Yeah. And then this one just has them all in all the different colors. So you get them in, dark, if you got really picky customers, brass, sternotic. Then you've got these little self-tapper ones. These are for metal hinges. So if you come up to a door with metal hinges and the screws are all stripped out of it, this is a solution for that. And then obviously your faceplate screws and things like that go right in here. So I just find that this is extremely useful and helpful. And it's one of those things you just have to have on the truck when you need it, because it's not going to be very available at the hardware store. So good questions, good comments. Thank you. Have you used the bridge kit before?
I have. I stocked them on my trucks.
Absolutely. Yes. So this is their bridge kit.
That saved me embarrassment many times.
Yes, it has. And this is a specialty item. When you need it in the field. You never know when you're going to need it unless you know that you're doing a deletion. Like on this one, this was electronic access. So we knew that we had to delete this, but it's just one of those things you got to have on the truck and you got to have it when you need it. But these bridges basically just break off. And here's the deletion faceplate. I just put this on here for some part numbers and whatnot. And then the first thing that's going to go in, you can see just to temporarily cover this, we just put a sticker over the hole to begin with, but that's going to come off. And then we're actually going to use a different product. You don't have to go through both holes. They actually offer a single hole deletion kit too. So we should be able to go over that as well. So here's how the bridge sits down, nice flush, nice and even. When this little hole back here gets stripped out, this is what's going to provide your strength and rigidity and something to screw that into. So now we're doing a deletion kit on this one. That's fine. You could also put your deadbolt in there or your 4900 or whatever it is, whatever hardware you're putting in this slot, and screw that directly to this. And now it can't pull forward because these plastic tabs grab from behind the door here.
And they're
Okay.
sturdy too.
Yes, they're very sturdy, very sturdy. So we're going to go ahead and delete all of this, and I'm going to show you the half deletion kit as well. Okay, so you see we've got 2 bridges in here, 3 bridges at the top. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 total. And what I do is I just kind of hold the faceplate next to it and then line them up that way. And then that way you're pretty close. Then here you go. You just pop your little screws in. They countersink, nice and flush and even. Sometimes when you're doing these deletion kits, I put 2 plates together and then it brings it flush. Just a matter of what your opinion is and how you want it to look. Here's something that people don't see a lot of. This is the single hole deletion kit. And what this does is this piece goes on the backside, on the inside of the door. This screw goes through and actually threads directly into the outer portion. So if you haven't seen these before, this is what it looks like. You can see it from the inside. You've got the screw, goes in, goes through, and goes right to the other side. Okay. And then you can use vice grips or pliers or whatever to tighten that up. We had a pretty decent cover on the outside here that's got a QR code so people can call us if they need us. But here's what it looks like on the inside, and we will take care of these too. So for these this is what's called a nutsert. So if you have big oversized holes and you don't know what to do with them, you don't have a screw big enough to fill those, open them up to about 3/8 and put a nutsert in there, and it'll actually cover that up as well. So our whole problem is we're putting electronic access on this for a couple reasons. One is this 4900 and this paddle, we're not holding up to the abuse. So we put in a commercial grade 1 exit device for a narrow framed aluminum storefront door with an electronic strike. We went full-blown electronic access. The alarm lock was not holding up to the abuse. We were out here every couple months, either rebuilding a paddle, replacing the 4900, replacing something. So we had to change things up a little bit.
And what did you do to the top and the bottom holes?
I put what's called a nutsert in there. See how this one's empty? And then this one's got this little guy right here. Have you ever used a nutsert or a blind nut?
Yeah. And then what do you just put a screw in there?
Put a 1/4x20 screw in it. Yep. Just put panhead screws in it. It fills the hole. It looks like it's holding something up. It's not doing anything except for eye candy, just to make it look pretty.
What do you use? Stainless steel screws?
You can. A lot of the screws are going to come with a zinc coating. They actually make stainless steel riv nuts now, by the way, too. So you can get aluminum. I like to use aluminum with aluminum because then we don't have to worry about it rusting or anything. They make a standard, like a galvanized steel one, and then they make a stainless steel one too. All that stuff's available on Amazon.
Where are you buying those from?
Just Amazon.
Okay. The first time I rented those was at a hardware store called Menards.
Yeah.
And I bought one of everything they had.
Absolutely.
And I haven't been able to find them, but you find them on Amazon. Okay.
Amazon has them. Harbor Freight has nutzerts and nutsert kits too. The stainless steel ones, the only place I've been able to find them is Amazon, but regular ones you can find at Harbor Freight. So here's just another picture of this thing getting built up. We have 3 bridges totally supporting that cover plate. Here's what the nutsert looks like from the inside. Basically, it goes through and then you use a tool and you crimp it together, and it's almost like a pop rivet where it crushes the back, but it gives you like 10 or 11 threads to hook onto. And as you put the screw in, it literally tightens and continues to crush and strengthen the bond of your nutsert. The nutsert, riv nut, or blind nut are terms that you can search for these as well. And then we have our GKL products half deletion kit right here, where we've got that little butterfly piece, we've got the screw, and then we've got the outer portion. All very easy to install. This is my little kit that I put together in the pack out kit. I've got my open locked indicator jig set up here. Here's all the bridges, and then here's those deletion kits here. Hole saw if we need that for the open locked indicator. And then just some general screws and just, stuff that you can't find hardly and that I just can't bring myself to throw away. I know. And then you have a 5-gallon bucket of the stuff. But here's what it looks like when we're done. I mean, this looks way more professional than just leaving a giant gap. The other thing you have to consider too is this store is going to get opened and closed. This is on a very big grocery store, large chain. And if kids stick their fingers in there, and that door shuts or slams, maybe the door closer's blown out, you could get somebody injured on this. And I'm not an attorney or anything, but if somebody's kid or somebody gets injured on this, a lot of times in our country, they try and blame somebody else. And so then they'll go to the store manager and say, well, this hurt or injured my son or daughter. And then they're going to say, okay, well, we'll take a complaint or whatever. And then maybe it moves to a lawsuit. And then a lawsuit happens and they're going to say, okay, well, we hired XYZ company to put this in and they left it open. So that lawsuit is going to transfer to the contractor or whoever did this, right? So this is why I like to just clean everything up, seal it off, don't leave any room for accidents to happen. And now if somebody gets injured on this door, we can say, look, we took every preventative measure possible. Most companies don't go above and beyond like this. However, we did, and that shows that we were trying to prevent any kind of, injury from happening. So here's what it looks like from the other side. It's all nice and flush. Stickers are great for covering some small holes. This is an actual metal sticker here, and it's not really a security flaw. I leave this on here so that we get the call back in case they need work or service on this. It also drives traffic to my SEO, to my business as well, to the website. But even if they tore this off of here, they still can't do anything with the electronic access because the other side is blocked off as well. And even if that wasn't there, you still wouldn't be able to do a whole lot. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start. There's what it looks like with those two panhead screws, 1/4x20s in there. It looks like it's holding something up there. All it's doing is just covering those holes up. And now they can clean, they can do whatever they want to. And this is all metal products here. So it's not going to just peel off or come off. And it looks really good. It looks way better than leaving it blank and empty. Okay. So we start off by taking the bridge out. It's going to have this piece attached. You break it off. You insert the key. This is called the key, GKL key, or the bridge key. You insert it with a little bit of a twist, whatever it takes to get it in the opening. And then you can see that it almost has like a rotation to these legs. See how they're kind of staggered there? So you literally insert, roll it over and click, almost like turning a key, like quite literally. It is like turning a key. You just insert it and you click it over and make sure those two plastic pieces are behind and in the gap here, and it'll just stay. And then you can move it. It won't fall out, but if you move it by hand, it'll move. I like to do it with the key in it. I'll just kind of tap it up, tap it down. And like I said, I'll hold that cover plate in here, line up the screws pretty close, and then that's it. You're done. Those things are solid. They're not going anywhere. They're just going to stay there. Okay.
That piece that you broke off, I've never figured out what that's for.
I think it's only for manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
So it comes off, you know what I mean? So that there's probably one extra step that they could have paid for during the manufacturing process, and it was probably going to add thousands of dollars to the manufacturing cost. So in order to keep costs down, they probably just said, hey, you know what?
Leave it.
Instead of charging double, you could break it off in the field. Right. So there's that one there. And that is GKL products. Let's see. What else we have here? You can scan that little code if you want to check them out, or just go to gklproducts.com. If you guys are on Wayne's Lock Shop page, this stuff is all in there. This is my personal page as well, so you can get some more information that way. But I hope that you see that there are some options. There are some really professional options for this, and they're not that expensive. I mean, your hardware store suppliers, whichever your supplier is, call them and ask them if they have GKL products, door deletion kits, hinge doctors, oversized screw kit, all of that fun stuff. Other than that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you for joining Locksmith Live. We're going to be here every Monday. Try and keep it about a half hour. I know everybody's time is really valuable. We do 2 shows. We do Locksmith United once a month on the first Monday of the month, and then Locksmith Live later. One last thing I would like to get out there too is, if you're not a member of ALOA, there are a lot of big changes coming. I am on the board, and we're seeing to it that some big things are actually changing for once, and you know, really actually getting some hardcore stuff pushed through. And then Safe Tech is going to be next week. I will be teaching there. So we're going to be in Reno. If you want to know how to repair safes, one of my classes is going to be safe repair, both hot and cold. And that includes welding, and that includes my TapCon cold repair. So if you can't weld inside, you can use that repair as well. Very strong, very nasty. If you come behind me and you want to drill a safe after me, it's going to be a tough day at the office in most cases, because we repair them to be a little bit stronger, equal to or superior than whatever was originally put in there. That's going to be all next week. Safe Tech Week is amazing. If you do safe and vault work, there's no finer place to get more education and information than right here. So with that, we'll close this out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed everything, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks for being here. Thanks for asking questions, Jerry. And did anybody else have any questions before we go? I will ask that. Questions, comments, concerns, products, where to get it? Favorite supplier? Maybe perhaps next week, maybe we'll go over nut certs. That's a pretty common thing that people need to go over too. We got one common, somebody's a little bit late. That's okay. This is recorded. So guess what? Follow my social channels. If you're on the social media pages, we'll post it there. If you're on Wayne's Lock Shop, we'll post it in there, and you'll be able to look at this at any point in time, or you can send it and share it with your friends too. If you got a buddy who thinks that this might be interesting to them, or you hear somebody talking about, you know, having a problem with deleting hard mechanical access as they apply electronic access to a storefront door, this is going to be right up their alley. Send them to me or shoot them a link. With that, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.